Okay, so in this video, I'm going to walk you through the Media tab of DaVinci Resolve. The Media page is the backbone of your editing process. It's critical that you are well organized, you understand how to bring files into DaVinci Resolve, how to bring them into your media pool. Off the back of that, understand how to add your metadata, how to create your smart bins, your power bins. Learn how to set your media page up for you to allow you to be as efficient as possible when you're editing. If this is the first time that you've opened up DaVinci, it can look a little bit overwhelming. So let's just jump in and I'll take you through. If we open up DaVinci here, we're going to be greeted by our project library manager. And we already talked about this. We talked about all our project libraries. These are our books. The project library manager, that's our bookshelf. And then inside the project libraries, we've got our projects, which are the pages inside the book. So let's just open up this project. So you can see here, it's a completely blank project. There's actually no media inside DaVinci at the moment. This bottom section is media that sits inside DaVinci Resolve. There's nothing there because we haven't brought anything in yet. On the top left here, you'll see an area with some folders. So this section of DaVinci is representing our MacBook, our hard drives, any external disks, anything that is on our computer or plugged into our computer is represented here. You can see that DaVinci is referencing our Finder on our Mac. So if I go here, I've got my Extreme SSD, it's referencing it. I've got my Lacy 14 terabyte, it's referencing there. So you can see this part of DaVinci is just reflecting on our Finder. The reason this is important is because anything that you do in your Finder, so for example, if you shoot a project, you bring in the SD card, you offload the media, and you set up some folders, it's extremely important that you set them up in a way that is organized, it's efficient, it's labeled, and something that works for you and something that's going to work, long term as well. Let's take this one here, for example, 2025-04-07 Cebu Pacific trip. So this was a recent trip to the Philippines with Cebu Pacific. I was shooting a video for them, and on this day, I shot on the Sony a7S III and the iPhone. So what I did was I set this folder up with the year, the month, and the date, a label of what's inside the folder, just so it's a visual reference so I can see quickly what's happening that day. Inside that folder, I'll create two other folders for each camera. Now, I could have also shot on a GoPro or a drone or an Insta360. If I did, I would have the folders all set up inside this main folder here. This will set you up for success. It'll be useful if you're working with a team. It'll help your team find the information quickly. And then when it comes to editing, everything's beautiful, organized, and your workflow will just be so much more efficient. Let's get into the DaVinci media page. Okay, so basically, I have been to the Philippines, I've shot content in this day, and now I basically want to bring this footage into DaVinci. So there's a number of ways we can do this. The first way is to open up the folder and drag a file. So when you bring in footage into DaVinci, it's going to give you this pop-up message. The frame rate of this file is different to my project frame rate. So let me don't change it for a second. If I just go here and show you, you have to set this up at the start. So when you're starting a project, you just have to set your frame rate. I'm going to set mine at 30. I shot everything at 60 frames a second, but I want a 30 frames a second timeline. So I'm just going to set that up at 30, and you can change the timeline resolution at any point, but I like to keep it on 1080 just because it is quicker to edit in 1080, and then when I'm exporting, I'll change that to 4K. But for now, 1080, 30 frames a second, save, change, done. Now, I'll start dragging in clips to DaVinci. Now, this is the first way to do it. You can bring in clip by clip. You can decide, okay, I want that one. Okay, I'll bring this one in. The reason you don't want to do this is because you've already taken the time to set up your file structure here in your Finder. You know, you've spent the time importing, you've spent the time organizing by camera, everything's in there nice and structured. And you know, if you're going to drag files into DaVinci like this, you're basically going to undo all your work. So what I'll do is here, select all, Command A, S to delete. And instead of bringing in these files one by one, what you're going to do is you're going to grab the folder here and you're going to drag it into DaVinci. Now, if you drag it here, what's going to happen is it's going to pull the files in one by one. You're going to lose the file structure. So you're going to see here that all the iPhone footage, all the Sony A7S footage has been pulled in, but you've lost the file structure that you've created in your Finder. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab the folder and you're going to drag it over here. So what's going to happen now is, don't change, is that file structure that you've created in your Finder has been replicated inside DaVinci. What I'll do now is I can just drag these other folders in and I'm getting all the file structures, everything that I've already created, it's all being brought into DaVinci for me. And you can see here that it's all nicely organized and yes, I can start editing efficiently. Now with your media pool, you'll notice here, if I click through, say to the edit tab, the media pool is basically coming through with you. So anything that you've imported into this section here will be with you throughout your project. The media pool is replicated through each page. So you can see that everything that I've brought in is here. All your files, everything is organized. Okay, so let's go through and have a look at the media pool. Let's see what's going on inside the media tab. So you've brought your clips in. We've got some footage here. We've got some information. We've got the clip name. We've got the number of frames, video, audio, the resolution. All this information is sitting here. You can change it to a thumbnail view. So the thumbnail view will allow you to get a high level view, give you a thumbnail, see what's going on inside the clip. There's some people dancing. Actually, let's just turn the sound off for that one. So the thumbnail view is pretty good because you can see straight off the bat what's happening inside the file, what's going on. And then you've got your metadata view. So I don't really use this view too much, but if you've got a lot of information, you've got a lot of metadata, keywords, if you've organized by clip color or things like that, you'll be able to see it all here. So I generally use the list view. That works best for me. Let's take a shot and sort of go through for a second. Let's take this shot here, my friend walking through the flowers. So this is the preview window and we can see what's going on inside the clip. If we go here, we have the source. This is the audio and the video. If we go here, this is the audio track. So we can skip through and we can view just the audio in that file. This is useful if you've been recording some sound effects or if you're doing a voiceover and you just want to get the audio section. And then I go to the source and then finally we have annotations. What I can do in the annotations, this is really useful if you're working with a team. I can scrub through the clip and say I want to make a note at this section of the video. I put my playhead here. And then I can go up to this top bit and you've got some arrows, some squiggly lines, some squares in different colors. So let's say I want to do a red arrow towards the subject. And then it'll create a marker. And then I can open up the marker and I can make some notes. So start tracking subject. So say I'm working with a remote editor and I want to leave some notes for them. I can do that right here in the media tab. And then let's sort of go through. Let's change it to green. And then we can make another note. Stop tracking subject fusion. So that's just a simple way that I can leave notes for other editors, for other, maybe I'm working with a colorist and I want to sort of make a note to say, okay, make sure the purple really pops. Color tab. change it to purple. So this is just a useful way to put annotations, non-destructive annotations and markers in the video. If you look here in the drop-down menu, you'll see the clip that we just added some markers to. It's got this arrow. If I click that arrow, you can see straight away that these are the markers and the notes. So I can click through and it'll jump through frame by frame. Let's say next we can scrub through like we did. You can scrub through the track. We can also add in and out points. So 4 is the in point, and then scrub through. 5 is the out point. So we can scrub through, and then we can also scrub through using this, the ball and the arrows. We can easily scrub through the clips. This one we can play, we can stop, we can skip to the last frame, skip to the first frame, pause, and then spacebar to play. And then this is loop, so this will just keep looping the track. So next up we'll go up here, we've got audio. So this is our audio feature. We can hear some birds there. Maybe if you just want to preview the media, maybe you want to see the levels, how loud it is. This gives you a bit of a summary, a bit of a preview. Next, we have the metadata. This is important. Okay, so the metadata, we can add things like keywords. We can change the clip color. We can say what shot, scene, take, angle. I don't really use these ones that much. This is more if you're making a movie or documentary. You can add in your takes, your angles, your scenes, your shots. I generally use the keyword. Let's select all. I know this was taken in Cebu, so I'll add that keyword Cebu. Then I'll add, say, Philippines. Then I'll add Cebu Pacific, because that's the client. So for example, if I want to add those 3 keywords to all the clips, I can do that. I can press save and it's going to add them here. So you can see all those keywords popping up. Let's say, for example, okay, let's jump here. Let's select this clip, this, this. Let's select all the ones with flowers. And what I can do now is I can say flowers. So I can add that keyword. Let's say flower garden, add it. Some more keywords, but now these keywords are only getting applied to the selected clips here. Probably should select that one as well. So now when I go through these clips, we've got extra keywords. So this is a great way just to get organized, especially if you're going to be using this footage in the future, or if you just want to recall it easily. So for example, if I come back to this project, like say next year or the next time I'm working with Cebu Pacific and I need to pull up some footage of flowers for a certain video, I can just jump into keywords. I can actually go down here. Sorry, I'll just pull this up so you can see it. And I'll just click flowers, and then straight away I've got all these clips of flowers because I've just added simple keywords into my metadata. So basically it's just a really good way to keep organized, and it's best that you do this at the beginning when you're importing your footage into DaVinci. It'll save you so much time in the future. It's good practice to get into the habit of doing it now, and especially if you're going to be editing, for the long term, it's a really good practice to get into. Because this is within your project, within a project library, all this information is going to be saved. It's all going to be stored. So anytime you come back in here, it's going to be able to reference these clips with the metadata. Next, we have the inspector. So what you can actually do here is you can start to manipulate the footage even within the media pool. So generally I would do this in the edit tab. You have the same format, same structure here, but okay, this way is easier. So let's say we've got this shot here. Walking through the flower garden, and it's a bit wide. I want to crop into the subject a little bit. Maybe I want to position it, maybe change the angle a little bit, the pitch. You can do all these things just within the media tab, which is super useful actually. I don't tend to use it a lot, but maybe you just want to quickly adjust a clip before passing it on to someone. You're like, okay, that one's good, just zoom it in a bit, and then straight away when if you're passing this on to an editor or you're coming back to it, it's already positioned how you want. You can do other things here like lens correction. Maybe you're shooting on some GoPro footage. You can just quickly analyze and correct the lens. So this one here, this will basically allow you to change the size of the inspector window on the right side here. So if I click this button, it's going to shrink it and it's going to give me more space for my files here. If I expand it, if I'm working within the inspector or maybe I'm working with my metadata, I want as much real estate as possible. I'll expand my metadata and metadata here. And I can, I've got more room to work with metadata. And then once I'm done, I want to go back to my files. I can shrink it. And now I've got more room for my files here. So you've got these three little buttons here. So if you click those, I can show film strip. So you can actually see the whole piece of footage. And I can just sort of scrub through here. Then you've also got show your smart bins and power bins. So sometimes these are toggled off, you'll have to toggle them on, but you can show your smart bins and then you can also show your power bins. I'll come back to smart bins and power bins a bit later, but they're very powerful features, very useful features within DaVinci that you'll want to start utilizing, and it'll really speed up your workflow and your editing. So we'll come across, this is just sorting the files. Ascending, descending, by clip name. You can just sort and organize by whatever way you want to sort your footage. So you've colored some clips, you want to sort it by clip color, stuff like that. So next we've got these different views. So currently we're in this one screen. We can actually do this and it'll split it. Essentially it's the same screen, but you've just got it twice. And the reason for this is, say, for example, I want to reorganize some footage right within my media pool. So let's say I imported some footage into this iPhone folder and it was actually Sony A7S III footage. So let's pretend this is an A7S III clip. What I can do is I can just drag it and move it across to my A7S. So I can restructure and reorganize directly within the media pool. So you can see the clips just come in here. I'll just undo that, I don't need that. So it's just a useful way if you want to rearrange things, if you want to move things around, you don't have to go back out into your Finder and you don't have to go back out into your Finder and do it here. You can actually just do it all within DaVinci. So that's quite useful. There is a stacked view and then there's also this four view if you're working with more complex or multiple cameras, things like that. So one thing that I like to set up is my favorites. So for example, on my desktop, on my Mac, I have my assets. Now I use these assets a lot for my editing. I have sound effects, I've got music, I've got video effects, just all these different things that I'll reference and need to jump into these folders. If I'm using, say I need sound effects, instead of me having to keep going back into my Finder here, I can just pull this folder directly into my favorites. And then whenever I'm doing something else or looking at other folders here, my sound effects are always here. So if I'm editing something and I want to jump back, Shift 2 to my media, I need a sound effect. It's just there, so I can just quickly go through, like say I need a gear spinning. I can just quickly pull that into my media pool and it's super fast. Generally what I would do here is I would have a new bin with sound effects and I would just drag it in there. Shift Command N, new bin, say music, Shift Command N, other assets. And then it means, like say for example, I've been an art list, I want to pull one of these tracks that I've just downloaded. So I've just downloaded this one. It's there in my favorites, easy access, and I can just pull it directly into my music. So it's good to set that up as well. So go through, set up your music, your assets, your sound effects, anything that you're going to be frequently using. can all be saved here in your favorites. So super useful. And then if I go across to my I say this is my edit tab. Now anything that I've pulled into the media pool is going to be showing here. So that's why it's important to have your files set up, structured properly, and organized correctly with folders. That's an overview of the interface of the media pool. So there's some things that I want to dive into in the next video. So I want to talk about power bins, smart bins. There's scene cut detection. There's a few powerful features right within the DaVinci media pool that I want to show you and get into in the next video.